Hello, I am Brooke Doyle from Page Ahead. I will be guiding you through this PowerPoint that will help you become more familiar with the Story Leaders program. Page Ahead is a children's literacy organization that provides new books and develops reading activities that empower at-risk children. Since 1990, Page Ahead has placed over 2.8 million new books into the hands of 850,000 at-risk children through collaborations with schools, social service agencies, preschools, and early childhood centers across Washington state. Story Leaders is one of Page Ahead's early childhood programs. It focuses on supporting educators and families in the use of a specific reading strategy. This strategy, dialogic or shared reading, has a very strong research base. It has been studied in all sorts of settings and in all sorts of different configurations, and it has been proven effective in strengthening children's language skills. Specifically, their expressive and receptive language, their vocabulary, comprehension, and the length of their responses. All skills that will get them ready for reading and ready for kindergarten. It works especially well with ELL students. Page Ahead piloted the program for 2 years and made changes based on this feedback. After today, I hope you will be ready to join a refresher training with the rest of your staff who have used the program before. During that time, we will talk more about specifics. During this PowerPoint, I hope you will become familiar with the dialogic reading technique, see it in action, feel motivated to practice the technique. After the refresher, you should be ready to begin conducting dialogic reading groups and share the technique with families. What is dialogic reading? It's probably something you already do, but we want to break down the technique and be very intentional about how we do interactive reading. Dialogic reading is shared reading. The adult is the questioner and active listener, prompting the child with a variety of questions and then responding in specific ways to strengthen language skills. It's used in repeated readings of the same story. Over time, the child becomes the storyteller as he or she becomes more familiar with the book. Some critical elements of dialogic reading. The adult reads the same book multiple times over several weeks. Story Leaders is designed so that the book is read a minimum of 3 times before a copy goes home for the child to keep. Some sites have asked if it can only be 3. They wanted to do many, many more, which is wonderful. You ask different questions during each reading. The questions are strategically designed to become more complex over time. Initial questions check for comprehension and recall. Later questions have the child telling the story more and relating it to their own experience. The other critical element is the readings are done in small groups, no more than 6. This is so important in making sure each child has time to participate in the discussion. It may be challenging to find time to do this, and part of our time together in the refresher will be sharing ideas on how to make this work. Many teachers have found ways to make the small groups work, and it is so beneficial. At this point, please pause this PowerPoint and open another browser to watch an example of dialogic reading in action. I have sent you the link in a separate email. Clearly, these children have heard this story before. The teacher offered lots of opportunities for the children to help tell the story. It's a lively retelling, and the children are very engaged and participatory. All sorts of language skills are going on. You're now ready to get into the nitty-gritty of dialogic reading. The acronym PEER, P-E-E-R, helps you remember the sequence. You begin with a prompt, P. In Story Leaders, we provide reading guide cards, which give you the prompts for each reading. After you prompt with a question, you will respond by evaluating, expanding, or repeating, our E, E, and R. Prompt is fairly simple. Ask the question, how do you think the bear is feeling? What is happening on these pages? What does it mean that the blanket is frayed? Evaluate. Provide the child with some information about their response. Yes, I hadn't thought of that. You feel the same way as Jaden. You're really thinking. Expand. Provide the child with more language that deepens their response. The bear does look sad. I think he looks like he's going to cry. Repeat is fairly straightforward. You simply repeat the child's statement. The barnacle is feeling bored. You will see that these actions do overlap. Throughout the story, you will be pausing to prompt and then expand, evaluate, and repeat the children's answers. We have another acronym for the prompts, CROWD, completion, recall, open-ended, WH, distancing. You will see a variety of these questions in the different readings. Completion. The reader pauses during a sentence and allows the child to finish it. These obviously happen in later readings, especially in those books with popular refrains. The bear wants more. Recall. In later readings, children recall what has happened in the story. This helps check for understanding. What happened to the lemur in the story? Open-ended. These questions do not have a right or wrong answer. These are great to use with illustrations and can really develop expressive fluency and attention to detail. Why do you think Mr. Panda is upside down? WH. What, when, why, who questions. These often also focus on the pictures. What do you see here besides donuts? Distancing. These questions relate the story to their children's own lives. These are mostly done in the third reading. For example, have you ever tasted a donut? How did it taste? Make sure the reading time is enjoyable. If you find it's taking too long, modify. If your groups aren't working, revise. You and the children will need to adjust to this style and this rhythm. There are 8 books in the program. You do approximately 1 per month. You will get 1 copy for your classroom to keep and 1 copy to go home with each child. That book is theirs to keep. You send it home after you have read it at least 3 times. This is a huge highlight for most programs. At this point, the child is going home very familiar with that book and as its very own story leader. The hope is that the family will read the story with their child leading it. Each book has a reading guide with separate questions for each reading, as well as extension activities. Families are partners in this program. Page Ahead provides a script and a 30-minute PowerPoint to use with families at a family night. It also has 2 videos showing families using Dialogic reading and a time for practice. Each family will get a bookmark and a magnet with sample questions on it, available in both English and Spanish. It's great if a family support worker can do a check-in about how Story Leaders is going when they visit. Thank you for participating in Story Leaders. Do not hesitate to contact Page Ahead with more questions, and I hope to talk with you during the refresher soon.